It's Thursday, August 15th, 2024. Donald Trump says we can cut energy prices in half, a change in tone on Hunter Biden, and one Kirk Herbstreit lays down the law. Next on the AM Update. Tomorrow is another edition of Ask or Tell Me Anything. You can ask me any question you want or tell me any news story you think it deserves being covered on the AM Update. Make your submissions at my profile on X at Real AM Update. Look for the pinned tweet. And now on with the Thursday edition. Donald Trump rallied in Asheville, North Carolina yesterday, back on the campaign trail again. And he discussed his economic vision should he win a second term in office. Among other things, he made this pretty bold promise.
I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half, at least half. We intend to slash prices by half within 12 months, at a maximum 18 months. And if it doesn't work out, you'll say, oh, well, I voted for him. I still got him down a lot. But we're looking to do it. We're looking to cut them in half.
That would be an ambitious goal indeed. I'm not sure that's actually possible, but slashing energy prices, I like shooting big and then maybe settling for something a little bit less than that, because energy prices have been the main driver of inflation, among other things. Joe Biden was back at the White House and he talked to the press. It's not getting any better, folks.
The U.S. beat inflation, Mr. President.
Yes. I told you we're going to have a soft landing. We're going to have a soft landing. My policies are working. Start writing that way, okay?
And Mr. President.
Anyway. Start writing that way, okay? Actually, that was the most lucid he sounded in quite a while. It's been 4 years. We're still waiting for that soft landing. He says he's beaten inflation. Numbers released this week say that inflation has slowed. But again, when we look from year to year and really term to term, things are a lot worse than they were about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, depending on where you want to start that marker. Even in that dementia-addled brain, even in that whatever addled brain that Joe Biden possesses, he still knows that he's in charge of the press, and he tells them, you guys start writing that. Well, in charge of the press, maybe not so much. There is a marked shift in tone about one Hunter Biden, as it was discovered this week, I guess. He actually asked for the United States government's help in securing funding and help for Burisma. That's that Ukrainian energy company that he was in bed with during his father's time as vice president. Check out this headline from the Associated Press. Hunter Biden reportedly sought U.S. government help for Ukrainian gas company Burisma. Give me headlines that would have never been printed back about 3 months ago. Hunter Biden asked the U.S. ambassador to Italy for help regarding an energy project at a Ukrainian gas company he was pursuing while his father was vice president. Hunter Biden wrote a letter to the ambassador in 2016 seeking assistance for Burisma, which he had been working with on a geothermal project in Italy. At that time, Hunter Biden sat on the board of Burisma, which was having trouble getting regulatory approval for the project. The revelation is, of course, likely to fuel more criticism of Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings, which have been the focus of GOP investigations for the duration of Joe Biden's presidency. Again, this is a story that would not have been written about 3 months ago. Now, places like the New York Times, Associated Press, CBS News, NBC News all got in on this story, really casting Hunter Biden in a negative light, possibly for the first time since Joe Biden has been president. Back at the White House, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre continues to field questions about somebody who's not even her boss. Here's Peter Doocy at Fox News.
2 days.
The vice president's team is not holding any press briefings. You are left to answer everything for her, even though you are not the vice president's press secretary. Is that getting old?
No. Let me tell you something. I'm the White House press secretary, as you all know, obviously, for the president, for this administration, for the Biden-Harris administration. It is an honor and a privilege. You hear me say this all the time. Honor and privilege to stand before you to be able to do that job.
No, she's getting annoyed. I love the way that question was framed by Peter Doocy saying, is this getting old? Answering all of the questions that the vice president's campaign should be answering. In Michigan, Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance rallied and talked about the decline of middle America. Here he is.
We're going to take back the White House. We're going to restore American manufacturing. We're going to restore a whole country. And it's going to start right here in the state of Michigan. Now, I love Byron Center. I've been here just about a couple hours, but Byron Center has been cast aside. And a lot of places in this country have been cast aside by America's ruling class in Washington, D.C. Now, politicians come into places like Michigan, they say nice things, but they crush our industries, they offshore our jobs, and they undercut American wages with illegal labor. You, my friends, have been betrayed. And the people who have been doing the betraying have gotten rich off of this country's decline. And it's time to call them out, and it's time to kick them out of office.
That is a populist message in concentrated form from J.D. Vance. Here's this national poll by Pew Research. Pew, we don't talk about very many polls on the AM update, but Pew has a pretty long track record, even when it's not election season, of a fairly good data. It has Kamala Harris winning 46-45, with RFK Jr. pulling in 7% of the vote. Males, Trump is winning 49-44%. Female, Harris is winning 49-42%. Among the younger generation, 18 to 29 years old, Harris is winning 57-29%. Ages 30 to 49, Harris is winning 45-43%. And then 50 to 64, Trump's up by 5, 49-44. And over the age of 65, Trump is winning 51-45%. Those are some results that are actually believable, unlike most of the polls that are coming out in recent days, which just have unbelievably cooked numbers and skewed results. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think one of the predictions that I've made in the past is that there would be a consequential, though nonetheless probably not any electoral college vote getting, but a consequential third-party figure. And most of the years, voting a libertarian, that's not consequential. But if this is correct, that RFK Jr. is still pulling in around 7% nationally, that would be very, very consequential. RFK Jr. really does have some sway on this election. You may know the name Kirk Herbstreit. He's a legend at Ohio State, playing quarterback back in the day. He's also a sportscaster currently. He travels all around the country. He does Thursday nights on Amazon Prime for the NFL. He does ESPN's College Game Day on Saturday mornings, and then he calls the ABC networks, whatever their marquee game, college football game is, every Saturday through the football season. Well, Kirk Herbstreit recently responded to a question asking him if men belong in women's sports. He responded to that question on X by saying, "Of course not. Ridiculous question." Here he is on Dan Dockich's program on Outkick.com, responding to the blowback he received from that tweet.
Don't come on here and bullshit me. You had to know that when you put that tweet out, there was going to be a reaction. Come on. You had to know.
I didn't give a shit, though. I don't really give a shit at all. Like, I'm done giving any shits at all about any of it. When it comes to, it's almost like there are two different sets of rules. And if you have a view that's a little bit more traditional, or, I'm a Christian guy, it's like there's a different set of rules for that viewpoint. And it's hard to just turn the other cheek time after time after time. So yeah, I didn't really care. I don't care at all, which is a good thing. I think it's good and healthy to get to that place, compared to, oh gosh, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to get people upset. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to say certain things. My problem is I have a temper. And so if I get to that point, if that fuse gets lit, I let it go, and then I'll explode and say something. So that I have to be careful of.
So that is Kirk Herbstreit with Dan Dockich laying down the law on that tweet I just read for you earlier, where he said absolutely not, a ridiculous proposition to say that men belong in women's sports. Good for him. That's an absolutely positive development. If somebody with his name, ID, his cachet in amongst the sports world is out there saying stuff with such aplomb and such forcefulness and such courage, as that, that's unbelievably good news. Moving on, the World Health Organization declared the monkeypox outbreaks in Congo and elsewhere in Africa a global emergency, with cases confirmed among children and adults in more than a dozen countries and a new form of the virus spreading. Earlier this week, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced that monkeypox outbreaks were a public health emergency with more than 500 deaths and called for international help to stop the virus's spread. The Africa CDC previously said monkeypox has been detected in 13 countries this year, and more than 96% of all cases and deaths are in Congo. Cases are up 160% and deaths are up 19% compared to the same period last year. In 2022, the World Health Organization declared monkeypox to be a global emergency after it spread to more than 70 countries that had not previously reported monkeypox, mostly affecting homosexual and bisexual men. In that outbreak, fewer than 1% of people died. After a group of hackers claimed to have stolen personal information several months ago from a data broker, a member of the group reportedly shared most of the sensitive data on an online forum for stolen data. Well, what is this data? It includes 2.7 billion records of personal information from Americans, including their social security numbers and physical addresses. A hacking group called USDOD claimed in April to have stolen personal records from national public data in a massive data breach. The NPD is a platform that offers personal information to employers, private investigators, staffing agencies, and others doing background checks. The USDOD offered to sell the stolen records, which included personal data, for everyone in the US, UK, and Canada to a forum of hackers. The hacking group USDOD was seeking $3.5 million for the entire database, but piles of the data have been leaked by various entities. According to Engadget, previous leaks of data included phone numbers and email addresses. That information reportedly was not part of the latest data release. If it's not abundantly clear now, we've been in the fully digitized world for the better part of almost 20 years now. If it's not abundantly clear yet, basically anything you do online, anything at all, is never secure. It's just never completely secure. I love blockchain technology. This is a rabbit trail for another day. Love blockchain technology. I think that's a wonderful thing. That's maybe the most secure way of actually doing things on the internet. But otherwise, there's always loopholes. There's always exploits. There's always ways to get behind the front of security that seemingly every website and every service online offers. Nothing online is actually secure. And finally, this Thursday, I want to leave you with this. If you think the propaganda coming out regarding Kamala Harris's presidential campaign so far is bad, we just still need to remind you what was going on about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Because what's going on now even probably surpasses that. And what was going on about 5 or 6 weeks ago? This.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
She knows so long as she was denied.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
President Biden has a photographic memory. His understanding and mastery of a complicated geopolitical situation is remarkable.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
I was sitting, 2 feet from him across the table, and he was, intense.
Have trouble walking sometimes? Yeah, so did FDR. He wanted GD war.
But he's totally focused. He's very sharp.
They say he's sharp in meetings and so on.
Very lucid, very well informed. Biden is stately, and he comes with gravitas. There hasn't been, as far as I know, a single claim that Biden made a mistake.
Ageism is an issue. Americans have a rich history of holding people's physical characteristics against them. Okay, you can ask African Americans.
He's older. That doesn't mean that he is unfit, and there's a lot of ageism there.
Now, this age attack, this obsession by the right.
Joe Biden may not be able to speak for himself the way that he used to.
They want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, and that's him lying around.
I think people should be speaking up for Joe Biden.
Americans and reporters in the media are just judging him by a physical appearance, and it's horribly unfair. Age is an asset.
He showed exactly how with it he is.
The flip side of this coin is that he has a tremendous amount of wisdom and experience.
Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about
Him seeming a little slower?
No.
More wild speculation from a bunch of people who have probably never been in a room with Joe Biden and certainly don't have medical degrees that I'm aware of.
You don't get paid for performance to be president. You don't. The job is not a job of endurance. I don't see Donald Trump out bike riding like Joe Biden.
It's the Hillary's email. All they have
was basically last month, or at least a month and a half ago. And think how bad their propaganda is. They've even surpassed that level of propaganda with how they're propping up Kamala right now. Whatever your expectations for the media were, continue to lower them. We'll be back tomorrow with Ask or Tell Me Anything. Make your submissions at Real AM Update on X. Ask me any question. Tell me any story that needs to be covered. We'll see you then. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update.